All right, so get this. Imagine you're trying to start a business, but you need two totally different groups of people to join. The catch: neither will join unless the other's already there. Kind of a crazy puzzle, right?
Wow, totally. It's like the classic chicken or egg problem. But in the business world,
Exactly.
you need buyers to get sellers, and sellers to attract buyers.
Makes you think, like, would you sign up for, say, a ride-sharing app if there were no drivers around?
Probably not.
No way. That's the challenge at the heart of building a successful platform. And that's what we're diving deep into today, unlocking the secrets of how they do it.
It's fascinating stuff, really.
Totally. So to guide our deep dive today, we're using excerpts from Platform Revolution, a book by Sanjit Paul Chowdhury, Marshall Van Alstyne, and Jeffrey Parker.
A great read for anyone interested in this stuff.
Absolutely. Think of this deep dive as a crash course in platform launch strategies. We'll be looking at real-world examples and hopefully having some aha moments along the way. Stuff that might change how you see those apps and services you use every day.
Yeah, it can really shift your perspective. Like
Sure.
when you look back at the dot-com boom, it was this wild time, full of crazy experiments and, honestly, a lot of pretty spectacular failures.
Oh, yeah.
But amidst all the chaos, some companies emerged as true pioneers, figuring out how to build platforms that connected people and businesses in ways never seen before.
Right. Okay, so let's set the scene right. Let's go back to the late 90s and talk about PayPal. You probably use it all the time now. But back then, it was this super risky startup, burning through millions of dollars every month, just trying to stay afloat in a seriously cutthroat landscape.
Yeah, they were really up against it.
Total.
And at the heart of their struggle was that infamous chicken or egg problem we were talking about. Like, why would anyone use a new online payment system if there were no sellers actually accepting it?
Right.
And on the flip side, why would any seller sign up if they knew there were no buyers using it?
Like a classic catch-22. It's like trying to throw a party, but no one wants to come unless they already know everyone else is going to be there.
It's a tough spot to be in.
Totally. But here's the thing. PayPal didn't just give up and say, well, this is impossible. They got creative, got scrappy, and they came up with some pretty ingenious solutions.
Oh, yeah. And those solutions are packed with valuable lessons for anyone looking to launch a platform of their own, whether it's a marketplace, a social network, or any kind of two-sided business, really.
Right. So first, they tackled the sign-up process. Yeah, you gotta remember, this was the era of dial-up internet and clunky websites. A lot of platforms back then made joining super complicated, asking for tons of information, hoops to jump through just to create an account.
Yeah, so much friction.
Total.
Every extra click, every extra field, it was another barrier to entry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But PayPal knew that. In the fast-paced world of the internet, every little hurdle mattered. It can make people give up.
People are busy. They're impatient.
Totally.
No one wants to spend ages filling out forms online.
Right. So they did something pretty radical. They made signing up incredibly easy. All you needed was your email address and a credit card. That's it. No lengthy forms, no waiting for verification emails, just instant access.
It seems so simple now, but it was revolutionary at the time.
Totally a game changer.
Yeah, it was all about understanding user psychology.
Right.
Simplifying, streamlining, making it as smooth as possible.
Exactly. But then they took it even further. And this is where it gets really interesting. To really kickstart their growth, they started paying people to join.
Wait, they what?
Yeah, you heard that right. $10 just for signing up, and another $10 for every friend you referred.
Wow, can you imagine that happening today?
Seriously.
It was such a bold move.
Totally.
It really highlights what it takes to launch a platform. Sometimes you have to incentivize early adoption, even if it seems a little crazy.
Right, and it wasn't just throwing money around randomly. The way they designed these incentives was really smart. It wasn't just about getting people to sign up. They wanted people to actually use the platform.
Right.
So to actually spend that $10 bonus, you had to make a transaction.
Brilliant.
Right.
It wasn't a marketing expense, it was an investment. An investment in building a base of engaged users.
Exactly.
And that made the platform more attractive to sellers, too.
Totally a win-win. But here's the thing. They knew that throwing money around wouldn't be enough to win. They needed a strategic target, a place where their solution would be super valuable. And that's when they set their sights on eBay.
Ah, eBay. It was exploding in popularity back then.
Yeah.
But sellers were having a nightmare accepting payments efficiently. Most were still relying on checks and money orders.
Oh, wow.
It was slow, inconvenient, and unreliable.
Ugh, yeah. So enter PayPal with their instant online payments. and easy-to-use interface. It was the perfect solution.
It was a match made in heaven.
Seriously, they saw a massive opportunity to piggyback on eBay's success. eBay already had millions of sellers,
Yeah.
and many of them were desperate for a better way to do business.
It's a classic example of finding a niche, where your solution offers a clear and compelling advantage. They weren't trying to be everything to everyone. They focused on solving a specific problem for a specific group of people, and they did it really well.
They absolutely nailed it. And they weren't afraid to get a little creative, shall we say. They actually used bots to simulate demand for PayPal payments on eBay.
Really?
Yeah.
Like making it look like there were already tons of buyers using the platform.
Exactly.
That's pretty risky,
Yeah.
but effective, it sounds like.
No, absolutely.
It just goes to show, launching a platform often requires thinking outside the box, experimenting,
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries a little.
Totally. So we've got frictionless sign-up, strategic incentives, and laser focus on a target market where their solution was a game changer. But there's one more piece of the puzzle that's super important: the concept of pull marketing.
Ah, yes. This is where PayPal's approach really diverges from traditional marketing.
Right.
Instead of bombarding people with ads, trying to push their product on them, they focused on building a platform so good, so seamless, so useful, that it naturally pulled users in.
It's like a magnet. Think about it. You probably didn't discover your favorite apps and services because of some flashy ad campaign. You probably heard about them from a friend, or read a positive review, or just stumbled upon them while searching for a solution to a problem.
Exactly.
You were pulled in.
It's about creating something so valuable that people gravitate towards it naturally.
Right.
You're not interrupting them with unwanted messages. You're offering a solution they're already looking for.
It makes so much sense. And this is where things get even more interesting. Because you might try it in the platform world, the big established players would always have the upper hand. They have the resources, the brand recognition, the existing customer base.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Right.
But that's often not the case.
Really?
Yeah, one of the most surprising things about the platform revolution is that it's often the scrappy startups, the agile innovators, who end up disrupting the big guys, reshaping entire industries.
Wow, that's amazing. And eBay's attempt to compete with PayPal is a perfect example. They launched their own payment system called BillPoint, but it just couldn't keep up.
What happened?
They were too slow to adapt, too focused on protecting their existing business model.
It's a common pattern.
Yeah.
Large companies get so stuck in their ways that they miss the boat on new opportunities. They underestimate the power of these nimble platforms that can iterate quickly, experiment fearlessly, and connect with users on a much deeper level.
Right, it's all about agility. So PayPal's journey offers some amazing lessons about what it takes to overcome that chicken or egg problem and launch a successful platform. They found creative ways to incentivize early adoption, strategically targeted a market where their solution was desperately needed, and embraced the power of pull marketing. But their story is just the beginning. There's a whole toolkit of strategies out there that successful platforms have used to tackle that chicken or egg problem. And as we dive into these, you might just recognize some of your favorite apps and services and see them in a whole new light.
I think you'll be surprised by what you discover.
There's a whole toolkit of strategies out there.
Yeah.
And as we dive into these, you might just recognize some of your favorites, see them in a whole new light.
What's interesting is that there's no one-size-fits-all.
Right.
The best approach depends on the platform, the audience, even the timing. It's about being strategic and adaptable.
So let's explore, starting with a strategy called Follow the Rabbit. Kind of like building on the success of a pilot project, our prime example, Amazon Marketplace.
Ah, Amazon. You think of them as this giant today. But they started as a pretty straightforward online retailer, selling books directly to customers.
Right.
But here's the thing. They built this incredible infrastructure for listing products, managing orders, processing payments. They were already masters of e-commerce.
It's a little customer base.
Exactly.
So at some point, they probably thought, hey, we've got this awesome system. Why not let other sellers use it too?
And that's how Amazon Marketplace was born.
So smart.
They took their existing infrastructure, their expertise, and turned it into a platform, creating a space where other businesses could reach Amazon's massive audience.
And they totally sidestepped the chicken or egg problem. They already had one side of the market the buyers locked in.
It was brilliant.
A perfect example of recognizing an opportunity and capitalizing on existing assets.
It's a lesson in leverage.
Totally.
Sometimes the solution isn't about building something entirely new. It's about repurposing what you already have.
In a clever way.
Exactly.
Okay, let's hop over to another strategy. Piggyback,
Mm-hmm.
which PayPal used so masterfully with eBay. Our book actually highlights another great example, Just Dial, the biggest local search platform in India. Imagine trying to build a directory of businesses in a country as vast and diverse as India.
That's a huge undertaking.
Seriously.
But Just Dial found a clever way to jumpstart their platform. They started by piggybacking on existing phone directories, the good old yellow pages.
Oh, wow.
They even sent people door to door to gather business information and build their initial database.
So they tapped into this pre-existing infrastructure, a system people were already familiar with.
Exactly.
But here's the real kicker. They recognized that not every business in India was tech-savvy.
Especially back then.
Right.
So they made it super easy for merchants to join. Even if they weren't comfortable with computers or the internet,
Oh, wow.
they could sign up and manage their listings through phone calls and text messages.
That's brilliant.
It was a low-tech solution to a high-tech challenge.
It's a great reminder that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective.
Absolutely.
They adapted to the needs of their target market. And once they had a critical mass of merchants on board, guess what happened?
The consumers followed.
Exactly.
Suddenly, Just Dial was the go-to place to find any local business. From restaurants to plumbers to doctors, they solved the chicken or egg problem. By focusing on one side of market first, the producers...
All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk about seeding. This strategy is all about creating initial value to attract users. And our book has some really diverse examples that show just how flexible this approach can be.
One that stands out is Google's strategy with Android.
Android.
To get developers excited about creating apps, they launched a massive competition. $5 million in prizes for the best apps in different categories.
Wow, that's a serious incentive.
It was.
They weren't just asking developers to take a chance, they were rewarding them.
Exactly.
They were seeding the platform with high-quality apps from the start.
And that attracted top talent,
Yeah.
generated buzz, and created a more compelling experience for users.
It's a win-win.
Absolutely.
Developers get recognition and rewards. Users get a platform with a diverse and exciting range of apps. It shows that strategic investment can be a powerful catalyst.
For sure. Now, here's another example of seeding. Maybe a little more under the radar, but equally clever. Adobe, the company behind the PDF format, wanted to make sure everyone had their PDF reader.
Right.
So guess what they did?
Okay, I'm intrigued.
They convinced the IRS to make all federal tax forms available online as PDFs. Suddenly, anyone who needed to file their taxes, which is pretty much everyone, needed a PDF reader.
That's genius. They tapped into a universal need, created instant demand,
Exactly.
and made their software indispensable.
They understood their target audience and found a creative way to make their platform essential.
All right, let's move on to the marquee strategy. This one's all about attracting a key player whose presence draws others to the platform. There's no better example than video games.
Ah, yes.
Think about Electronic Arts, EA. They're the giants behind games like FIFA and Madden. And platform companies like Microsoft and Sony know that gamers are going to want those games on their consoles.
Of course.
So they offer EA lucrative deals to make sure those games are available at launch, because they know that the presence of a big name like EA is a huge draw for consumers.
It creates a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
EA gets access to a massive audience, the platform gets a killer app, and gamers get the games they want.
Okay, next up, we've got the single-side strategy, where you build value for one user group first, and then open it up to the other side. Our go-to example here is OpenTable, the restaurant reservation platform.
Right. Now, they didn't start by trying to attract diners. They focused on the restaurants first. They developed software that helped restaurants manage their bookings, streamline their operations, optimize seating capacity.
It's like setting the stage, getting all the performers ready before opening the doors to the audience.
Exactly. Smart move. By creating a valuable service for restaurants, they built up a critical mass of participating businesses.
Right.
And once they had a robust network of restaurants, they launched the consumer-facing platform, making it easy for diners to find and book tables.
So they solved the chicken or egg problem by attracting one side first and then using that momentum to pull in the other side.
It's a strategic way to build a platform in stages.
Makes sense.
Ensuring that there's already value in place.
For each group of users. Okay, now let's look at producer evangelism, a strategy that puts the power in the hands of the creators. We see this with platforms like CRM tools, crowdfunding sites, even online marketplaces like Etsy.
These platforms empower their producers, the people creating the products, services, or content, to bring their own audiences on board.
So instead of convincing users to join directly, you let the producers do the work.
In a way, yes. These producers already have established relationships with their customers or fans.
Right.
Think about crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter. They give creators the tools to run their campaigns, connect with potential backers, and manage their projects.
But it's the creators themselves who spread the word.
Exactly.
Bringing in new users.
It's a brilliant way to leverage existing communities and tap into the enthusiasm of passionate creators.
It creates a virtuous cycle.
As more producers find success, it attracts even more creators and backers.
Fueling further growth.
Precisely.
Okay. Are you ready for a strategy that's all about making a splash?
I think so.
Because the Big Bang adoption strategy is about creating a massive attention-grabbing event.
To spark widespread adoption.
Exactly. It's about generating excitement, building buzz, creating that fear of missing out.
FOMO.
Yeah, FOMO. And our textbook example is Twitter, back at the South by Southwest Festival in 2007.
Ah, yes. Legendary in the tech world.
They set up these giant screens, displaying tweets in real time. And as people started using Twitter to share their experiences and connect, it created this electric atmosphere.
This feeling that something big was happening.
It was like a party everyone wanted to be at.
The energy was contagious.
Totally.
Twitter became the talk of the festival, and it propelled them into the mainstream.
It's a perfect example of how a well-timed event can create a tipping point where a platform suddenly explodes.
It's not just about the event itself. It's about how you leverage that moment to capture attention, build momentum, create a sense of community.
And last but not least, we've got the micromarket strategy, all about starting small and focused. And the most famous example is Facebook.
Facebook.
Remember the early days?
Yeah.
When it was just for Harvard students.
It was like a digital version of their campus.
Right.
This intimate, exclusive community.
It fostered a sense of belonging, encouraged engagement.
It was a controlled experiment in a way.
Yeah.
A way to test and refine the platform.
Yeah.
Before opening it up to the world.
And it worked brilliantly by starting small. They created a vibrant community. That became the foundation for global expansion.
It's a great example of how a micromarket can be a powerful launchpad.
Totally.
It allows you to iterate quickly, get feedback from early adopters, and build a strong core community.
For scaling up.
Exactly.
So we've explored 8 different strategies. Each one offers a unique perspective on how to build a thriving two-sided market. But what's really striking is that there's no single formula.
The key is to understand the principles, analyze your market, and choose the strategy that best aligns with your platform's value.
Right.
But there's one more element at play here. That can take a platform from successful to truly unstoppable.
You're talking about viral growth, right? That magical phenomenon where a platform seems to spread like wildfire, attracting users organically.
Exactly. Viral growth. Yeah. It's like the holy grail of platform marketing. It's about creating a platform so engaging, so useful, that users become your biggest advocates, spreading the word organically.
Like magic, almost.
It really is.
Like planting a seed. That blossoms into this amazing garden, with each flower attracting more bees, which pollinate even more flowers.
I like that analogy.
This self-perpetuating cycle of growth.
And just like with plants, there are certain conditions that favor viral growth.
The right ingredient.
Exactly.
So let's break it down. Our book highlights 4 key elements of viral growth, starting with the sender.
The sender is the user who kicks off the viral loop. They share something of value from the platform. Yeah, a funny video, a helpful article, a beautiful photo, whatever it might be.
But it's more than just word of mouth.
Yeah. It's not just about shouting from the rooftops, hey, this platform is great. It's about creating a platform where users naturally want to share their creations, insights, experiences with their networks.
It's got to be baked into the experience.
Exactly.
Like YouTube or TikTok.
Yeah.
They thrive on user-generated content.
People create and share because it's fun, it's rewarding, it connects them with others.
The platform provides the stage.
And the tools.
But it's the users who are the stars.
Absolutely.
They're the ones creating the content. That fuels that viral growth.
And that brings us to the second element, the value unit.
The thing that gets shared.
The video on YouTube, the photo on Instagram, the question on Quora.
The currency of viral growth.
It sparks a reaction, ignites a conversation, offers something of value.
And that leads us to the recipient.
The third element.
The people who receive that value unit. The potential new users,
Right.
the target audience.
The value unit is the bait.
And you want them to take a bite and join the platform. But even the best bait won't work if it's not presented right.
Which brings us to the fourth element, the external network.
The channel.
The channel through which the value unit is shared.
Facebook, Twitter, email.
Even word of mouth.
It's the amplifier.
Writing megaphone.
Spreading the message.
You have to understand where your target audience hangs out and find ways to reach them.
Through those channels.
Right.
So we've got the sender, the value unit, the recipient, and the external network. When these elements align, it creates that chain reaction.
That self-perpetuating cycle.
That can take a platform from zero to hero.
But here's the thing. You can't force viral growth.
You can't just throw money at it.
It's not about gaming the system. It's about designing a platform that encourages sharing, a user experience so good that people can't help but spread the word.
It has to be that good.
It does.
And one platform that really gets it is Instagram. They've created this ecosystem where sharing photos isn't just easy, it's rewarding.
You take a picture, add a filter, write a caption, and you're connecting with friends, followers, maybe even a whole new audience.
They really nailed it.
They gave users the tools to enhance their photos, encouraged hashtags, made it seamless to share across other networks.
They turned their users into micro-influencers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They understood that people love to share their experiences visually, and they built a platform that made that easy and enjoyable.
And the results speak for themselves.
Phenomenal growth. Without huge advertising spending.
They rode the wave of viral growth.
All the way to the top.
It's a reminder that sometimes the best marketing is no marketing.
It's about creating something so good that people can't help but share it.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into platform launch strategies, I'm looking at the apps and services I use in a whole new way. It's amazing to think about all the work that goes into building these platforms.
The ingenuity, the strategy, the understanding of human behavior.
It's incredible. They've become such an integral part of our lives.
They really have.
And for me, the biggest takeaway is that the best platforms are the ones that truly understand their users.
They're not just selling a product or a service. They're
Right.
creating a space for connection, for creation, for sharing value,
And they're always evolving,
adapting to the changing needs of their users.
building something people genuinely love,
Yeah.
something they can't imagine living without.
That becomes an essential part of their lives.
Exactly.
That's what makes platforms so exciting. They have the potential to transform industries, empower individuals, shapes the future.
In ways we can only imagine.
So here's a final thought. Think about your favorite platform, the one you use every day. What launch strategy do you think they used?
How has the growth impacted your life?
And what does their future hold?
Great questions.
Keep those in mind as you continue your own deep dive into the world of platforms.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.